It's almost surreal at this point. The same man who campaigned on the promise to release the Epstein files and finally bring justice to the victims is now laughing at the very people who stood by him through everything. He's now mocking the people who believed in him, calling them weaklings, bad people, losers, for asking about the Epstein client list. Yes, that Epstein whose name became synonymous with the darkest abuse imaginable. The one who operated with immunity for years while elites flew on his plane, visited his island, stayed at his townhouse. The man who mysteriously died in a jail cell under surveillance that somehow mysteriously malfunctioned on that day. And now, after years of silence, years of unanswered questions, when people finally push back and demand accountability, they're being told to shut up. On Truth Social, Trump called the entire thing a hoax. He said those who still ask for Epstein's client list are falling for a Democrat scam. He even called his own base weaklings, said that people who care about the Epstein story are bad people. Let that sit for a second. The same people who stuck by him when the media turned, when the FBI raided his home, when he was banned from social media, when they tried to destroy his family, his businesses, his name, those same people are now being insulted, publicly, mocked, dismissed, all because they asked him to do what he himself promised. Trump ran in 2016 on transparency. He nodded to Epstein repeatedly on the trail, hinted there were names, connections, files. Just wait, they said. The truth is coming.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
Yes, I would.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
A lot of people are wondering, because you said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk, is when can we see them and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims. 200. So we have, well over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
In this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking.
He even had members of his administration flash folders labeled Epstein Phase 1. They made it a spectacle. They made it a promise. And now he's sitting next to Epstein's literal neighbor, Howard Lutnick, as they both laugh at the idea of releasing the list. It's not even subtle anymore. They're laughing in your face. And worse, they think you're stupid enough to smile through it. Recently, there was an amendment in Congress, proposed to force the DOJ to release the Epstein files. Not the victim info, not the sensitive stuff, just the truth about who enabled this, who used his services. And every single Republican voted against it, blocked it from even reaching debate. Let that sink in. The party that claims to fight for children's safety, the party that rails against Hollywood elites and predators, they didn't even want to discuss it. And Trump? He didn't say a word in protest. No Truth Social rant, no fire, no sad tweet. Silence. Until people started asking why. And that's when he snapped.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats. And some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net. And so they try and do the Democrats' work.
But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think, well, really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have.
Suddenly, it's a hoax. Suddenly, the same man who said he'd unseal the truth is now telling you there is no truth. That it's boring. That only bad people care. He went on TV and said it with a straight face. And the man beside him, the man whose house was literally next to Epstein's mansion, burst out laughing, as if it was the funniest joke he'd ever heard. This isn't incompetence. This isn't forgetfulness. This is intentional. Ask yourself, if this really was a hoax, why did Trump campaign on it? Why did people in his inner circle hype it up for years? Why were we told the files were coming? Why were folders waved around like trophies? And if there's nothing there, why hasn't the list been released to shut everyone up? Because there is something there. Because power protects power. And now it looks like even Trump has joined that club. This isn't about partisanship anymore. It's about the millions of Americans who backed a man because they thought he was the last shot at the truth. This base, the one Trump now insults, carried him through fire. When everyone called him a fraud, they stood by him. When he was impeached, they fought for him. When he said he'd fight the swamp, they believed him. And now he's calling them idiots for remembering what he said. He's not even trying to cover it up. He said on TV, quote, "I think only bad people care about this." As if caring about the biggest pedophile ring connected to elite society makes you the villain. No, Mr. Trump, wanting the truth doesn't make someone a bad person. It makes them a citizen, a decent human being, someone who still believes that evil shouldn't walk free just because it wears a suit and smiles on a red carpet. The Epstein scandal isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a documented network of abuse, power, and protection. There are flight logs. There are court documents. There is a dead man in a jail cell and a convicted trafficker behind bars. People aren't bad for wanting that information. And if the man who once promised that truth now turns around and mocks them for caring, then maybe he was never who he said he was. And we're not even talking yet about the mysterious death of Jeffrey Epstein, a death so suspicious, so conveniently timed that even Hollywood would reject the script for being too obvious. The man was under 24/7 surveillance in a federal jail, possibly the most high-profile inmate in the country at that moment, and yet somehow, magically, the cameras failed, the guards fell asleep, and he just ended up dead. But let's focus on just one thing, one lie, a small detail they figured no one would question. Just last week, Pam Bondi went on TV and said confidently that it's normal for 1 minute of prison surveillance footage to go missing every night. She said this missing minute around the time of Epstein's death was nothing out of the ordinary. That's just how the systems work. A 1-minute gap happens all the time. You might say, okay, maybe that's true. But then people who actually looked into the raw footage found something else entirely. It wasn't 1 minute. It wasn't a system reset. It was 2 minutes and 53 seconds. Nearly 3 full minutes of footage missing. Gone. And get this, it wasn't just a raw feed that glitched once and was saved. The footage was run through Adobe Premiere Pro, you know, the kind of software you use to edit videos, and was saved multiple times over a period of hours. They didn't hand us raw footage. They handed us a project file, a stitched-together edit. Someone sat down, loaded the video, trimmed it, and exported it. That's not a glitch. That's intentional manipulation. So now Pam's statement is a lie. There's no system reset that deletes almost 3 minutes at the exact moment Epstein supposedly dies, in the most secure part of the prison. And if it were anyone else, if this wasn't a man with dirt on the most powerful people in the world, it would have been national news for a year. Investigations, Senate hearings. But because it's Epstein and because it leads to places no one wants to go, they think they can just sweep it under the rug. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to stay updated as we keep digging for the truth they don't want you to hear.